could be. It is in that restless, relentless pursuit of higher ideal, in that unyielding spirit of aspiration, that humanity advances and nations rise. For it is only by stretching beyond our limit that we discover our true strength and fulfill our full destiny. Fellow citizens, as we emerge from a week of profound sorrow and reflection, and as the nation continues to observe the 7 days of mourning on the passing of our former Prime Minister, it is both fitting and worthy that we anchor this year's Mashujaa celebration in the extraordinary and consequential life of our departed legend, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. In honoring his memory, we also draw from his journey of enduring lessons of courage, service, and unyielding love for country. The first lesson that Baba taught us is to put country above self. Time and again, he reminded us that no disagreement is greater than our unity, no ambition more important than our peace, and no personal interest higher than the welfare of our nation. He famously declared that he would shake the hands of his rivals, whether he won or lost, because he loved Kenya more than he loved Raila Amolo Odinga. That was the measure of the greatness of a man. Early this year, when I invited him to address our cabinet retreat, Baba reiterated the need to ensure, above all else, that Kenya remains a stable and a secure nation. He reminded us that we may hold lofty visions and great ambition, that we may dream big, daring dreams, but without a country and a stable political environment, they would remain mere wishes. Perhaps, more significantly, he told us that an imperfect nation striving for perfection is far better than one that is consumed by chaos and anarchy. And he could readily point to countries in our region that were once stable, but later descended into turmoil and disorder, and decades on, they are yet to regain their stability. There are people still enduring untold suffering and loss. This is the critical lesson that those who criticized and faulted Baba for working with us to stabilize the nation forget or refuse to acknowledge, or they just simply don't care. When some saw the opportunity to bring down their competitors, even if it meant bringing down the country, Baba chose the stability of Kenya. For Agwambo, the specter of a failed state was too grave to contemplate. He understood that leadership is not about personal pride, but about preserving the republic, not about victory in politics, but about preserving the stability of the nation we love, Kenya. Second, fellow citizens, Raila's love for Kenya was deep, steadfast, and unconditional. He once told us that if he were to die and God asked him where he would wish to be born again, he would say without hesitation, take me back to Kenya. Such was the depth of his devotion to our beloved nation. He knew that Kenya, like all nations, was not perfect, that nation building was work in progress, that it is only renewed with every generation. He understood that we are an imperfect people, always striving towards a more perfect union. Yet even in our flaws, he saw magic and beauty. In our struggles, he discerned promise, and in our contradictions, he could pick out hope and unity. To Raila, there was no place on earth more worthy of devotion, no people more deserving of faith, and no dream more noble than the Kenyan dream. Thirdly, Baba's life was an example of always choosing and closing ranks for the common good. When our nation faced turbulence last year, for example, I reached out across the political divide. Baba was the first to come to the table to help steady the ship of state, leading to the formation of the broad-based government that has since stabilized our economy and our nation. That is what heroes do. When the stakes are high, they rise above partisanship and put the country first. Even during the last election campaigns, when fate placed us once again on opposite sides of the political divide, Baba spoke words that will echo through generations. He said, and I quote, "I have been to the mountaintop. I have seen the glory land. I may not get there with you, but together we will get there." End of quote. In those words lay the essence of his leadership: selfless, visionary, and anchored in faith that Kenya's destiny transcends any individual. He reminded us that collaboration, even with rivals, is not an act of political convenience, but a sacred pact with posterity. For Baba, it was never about him becoming president. It was about Kenya having a good president, and Kenya moving from a third world status to a first world status in a short time as possible, so that we, as a people and as a nation, can realize our true potential. The glory land that he saw at the mountaintop is the better, the greater, and the more perfect union for which we must now, on this Mashujaa Day, dedicate ourselves anew. Fourth, our former Prime Minister was a foremost preacher of national unity. He tirelessly reminded leaders and citizens alike that our overarching identity is not defined by tribe, region, or creed, but by the sacred bond of being Kenyan. He often urged us to think Kenya first, to let the idea of one nation under one flag rise above all else. And he lived by that creed. When in 2002, he stood before the nation and declared Kibaki Tosha, it was not because he was unaware of where President Kibaki came from. It was because he saw, beyond geography and ethnicity, he saw Kenya as one united nation under God. Fellow countrymen and women, it would therefore be a desecration of his legacy if we were to allow ourselves to be divided by sectarian interests, by the peddlers of hate, or by the see nothing good about Kenya battalion. The fifth lesson from Baba's life